So these are two completely standalone separate stories. The Valley of Shadows. The breeze stopped blowing, and the sun flickered dark as I walked back to the office after lunch. The next thing I knew, I was on a ski lift with Bo. I didn't know how I knew Bo's name. We had never met. What the fuck? Did I just die? I said. You're so tense, Bo said. Relax. Are you God? I said. Bo raised the safety bar and directed me off the lift. I slipped and he caught me in his arms. Welcome to Primeval Peak, he said. On this side, the moon is always full. I looked around. The moonlight bounced off the white snow, making the sky blood red. Primeval Peak was empty except for a bearded man in a lush velvet robe sitting under a leafless tree. He was the split image of my late father in his senior home years. So this is heaven, I said. Where do I go to check in? Wait here, he said. He skied toward the old man. The old man slid an index finger over an iPad and nodded. Bo waved me over to the entrance of the Black Diamond Run. Faster, slow, he said. Your choice. Slow, I said. They have iPads in heaven? Fine, Bo said. Almost everyone prefers slow, but look downhill for me. Aquaphobic, I could only peek. A lonely shrub poked out through the powder halfway down the snow-white mountain. Elephantine shadows lumbered back and forth on the valley floor a mile in the distance. I squinted. What are those things? Bo turned away. Follow me, he said. I followed Bo as he carved parallel tracks down the blue run. After a few minutes, we merged into the black run at the shrub we had seen from above. Bo pulled to a hockey stop. This is the shrub that you saw from Primeval Peak, he said. The shrub was a clump of dry pansies that smelled like rotting oranges. I get it, I said. I cannot appreciate the mountaintop until I traverse the valley. Funny, I never thought of that, Bo said. He removed his gloves and pulled a rotten mango from his jacket. Halfsies? I shook my head and jabbed my ski poles extra hard into the snow. Can I ask something? I said. That's why I'm here, he said, to help you. Bo peeled off the black mango skin and tossed it to the bush. Then he slurped this brown flesh as if sucking a stubborn oyster. Two black vultures flew down and pecked at the skin. What's heaven like? I said. Heaven, he said. Bo tossed the seed to the vultures, knelt and brushed his teeth with an index finger. Then he spat and wiped the snow on his hands. So this is purgatory, I said. I crinkled my brow and pursed my lips. How do I get into heaven? Bo stood and picked up his poles. He pointed one downhill at the lumbering shadows. I'll be right behind you, he said. Lead the way. I tried to swallow and gag. My throat was sandpaper. No, I said. I'm not joining the shadows. How do I get into heaven? This is your placement, he said. The decision was final. Please, you have the wrong guy. I'll wait with you as long as you need, he said, but it's getting late. Bo, please. I told him about committing my father to a senior home and never visiting, about adultery, about watching too much baseball. I exercised twice a week, didn't smoke, and didn't deserve sudden death. Yes, I had been unexceptional, a tag-along, one of the crowd, but was being average such a sin? As the shadows marched the valley below, Bo pulled out another mango. You'll get used to them, he said. That was the first story. This is a completely separate story with separate characters in different settings. Escape velocity. The last time I saw my baby sister alive was the Friday morning after Thanksgiving. Dinner the prior night, our first Thanksgiving without Mom, was even sadder than her funeral 3 months earlier. When Mom was alive, Thanksgiving was flickering jack-o'-lanterns and piping hot pumpkin pies. That night, the three of us picked speechlessly at the cold store-bought turkey. As we waited for my shuttle, I pushed Sarah on the swing in our backyard. In happier times, Sarah would gossip about her dolls. This morning, she was silent. Has Dad taken to sleeping late every day? I said. I realize now it was difficult for a 7-year-old to articulate what must have been on her mind. I have a secret, she finally blurted. Well, what a coincidence, I said. I can keep one. She twisted around and glanced at me. Her silver hair blew into her puffy eyes, those eyes I can't forget. Come on, I said, I'm leaving soon. She rose, she fell. She dragged both feet on the ground, stood off the swing, and turned to me. Promise? I crossed my heart and hoped to die, stick a needle in. She held her finger to her lips. I can fly. You and Dad will fly to visit me in Boston next summer, I said. Dad is teaching me, she said. He'll teach me all the way soon. What? I said. She glanced up to Dad's bedroom window and lowered her voice. Dad said I couldn't tell. Triple promise not to tell? Of course, I promised Mom to take care of you. She giggled. Dad takes me flying at night. What? I said. I tucked you in last night at 9. Like this, she said. She ran to one end of our yard and stuck out both arms to form a cross. She inhaled and ran, arms outstretched along the length of our yard. As she neared the fence, she banked to starboard and ran back to me, her face glowing. She flipped both arms down to her hips, officially landed. See, the only time I had seen her so earnest was when she rode a donkey at the Alameda County Fair. Nice, I said, taking her hand. Mom would be proud of you. She stopped to begin bawling. You don't believe me. I can fly. I can. She jerked her hand away from me and ran indoors. A few weeks later, I returned home after Dad called to report that Sarah had run away. We formed search parties and plastered photos all over the East Bay. Months passed before police dogs found Sarah's body buried in our backyard, where she had banked to starboard. When I swing my own daughter now in our backyard and watch her silver hair blow in the wind, I see Sarah lifting her arms, her hair fluttering like airplane exhaust. This time, Sarah achieves escape velocity. She flies straight as a jet plane and clears the Berkeley Hills, flying, yes, truly flying away from her father.